Hello everyone and welcome back to Education Eternity. So our today's chapter is nutrition in animals. So as plants make their own food with the help of photosynthesis, animals they get their food either from plants or from other animals. So all organisms need food to survive. Different animals eat different types of food according to their body structure, function and their need. What an organism needs to eat, how it eats food and how it is going to be used up by its body together is called the nutrition, and it can be defined as the requirement or the mode of intake of utilization of nutrients by an organism. Since the food eaten by an organism is obtained from another living organism, either it is a plant or an animal, it is a mixture of complex substances, hence it may or may not be useful for an organism in its complex form. Hence after eating, food gets broken down into simple substances which is needed by the body of the organisms. Now nutrition is a very complex process in animals and it involves the following various steps. The first one is ingestion. So the process of intake of food is known as ingestion. Digestion is the second step, which is the process of breaking down of a complex food into simpler substances is known as digestion. Third one is absorption. The process of passing of digested food into the blood vessels and in the intestine is known as absorption. The fourth one is assimilation, that is the process of conversion of the absorbed food into complex substances such as proteins and vitamins, which is required by the body, is known as assimilation. And the final process is agitation. The process of removal of waste material from the body is known as agitation. The remains of food left after digestion is also called the feces. Hence the process of agitation is also known as defecation. Now what are the different ways of taking food? Now different organisms take food eat food in different ways. A hummingbird sucks a nectar. Human beings use their hand to put food in their mouth and swallow the food after chewing. Infants of humans and many other animals fed upon their mother milk by sucking them. Snakes swallow the animal they prey upon chewing them. A frog captures a prey with its sticky tongue. A earthworm uses its muscular pharynx to swallow food. Spider have weave sticky web in which small insects get stuck. Some aquatic animals filter tiny particles floating nearby and then they feed upon them. Amoeba is a unicellular animal and it engulfs tiny particles of food by using pseudopodia. An amoeba surrounds the food by pseudopodia and then makes the food vacuole and to engulf the food. So different multicellular organisms, they have different techniques for taking the food. Now digestion. So once the food is taken in, the process of digestion starts. The food we take is primarily in the form of a complex substance. Food in such complex form is not used by the animals. Hence it needs to be broken down into simple substances which are soluble in the blood, and it can be broken down by the other body fluids and can be absorbed by the cells of the body. So the process of breaking down a complex food into simpler substances is known as digestion. There are different types of enzymes which helps in the breakdown of complex molecules such as carbohydrates, fats, proteins into simple molecules. Digestion in unicellular organisms such as amoeba takes place within the cell, and the digestive enzymes are secreted in the food vacuoles. Now digestion in humans. The digestive system of humans is well developed. It consists of the gut or the alimentary canal along with many associated digestive glands. The alimentary canal is divided into the mouth, oesophagus, stomach, small intestine and the large intestine, as well as the rectum. Now the mouth and the buccal cavity. The food ingested through the mouth contains the tongue, teeth and the salivary gland. Teeth break the food into smaller particles and this process is known as mastication. The chewed food is mixed with the saliva, and saliva is a watery fluid which is secreted by the salivary gland. Saliva contains the types of enzyme which is called the salivary amylase, which converts starch into sugar. Now teeth, there are 4 types of teeth. The first one is incisors. So incisors are flat chisel shaped teeth. They lie in front of the mouth. There are 8 incisors teeth. 4 in the upper jaw, 4 in the lower jaw, and the incisors teeth are used for biting and cutting of food items. The other one is canines. They are round shaped, sharp and pointed teeth. They are well adapted to hold and tear the food, and there are 4 canines which is found in the humans. The next one is premolars, and there are 2 premolars on each side of each jaw. Premolars help in crushing and grinding of the food, and there are total 8 in an adult. Molars, there are 2 molars on both sides of the both jaw. They have almost flat surface with small projections. These teeth are meant for fine grinding. There are total 12 molar teeth, including the wisdom tooth in an adult human. The 4 molar teeth are also known as the wisdom tooth. The wisdom tooth usually grows between the age of 18 to 21. The tooth is covered with a white substance called the enamel, and it is the hardest substance in the human body. Now, milk teeth and permanent teeth. So humans get 2 sets of teeth in their lifetime. The first set erupts when they were babies, and it is known as the milk teeth. And the milk teeth lasts until when an infant is almost 8 years of old, and it gets replaced by the second set of teeth, which are known as the permanent teeth. And an adult human has 32 teeth in all, which is 16 in each jaw. Now the tongue. The tongue is a muscular organ. The tongue helps to make saliva in the food. It also helps to push the food down the food pipe or the esophagus. Taste receptors are present in the tongue, and it gives us the sense of a taste. The next topic is the food pipe or the esophagus. The esophagus is a tube-like structure which is connecting the mouth and the stomach. It is about 30 cm long, and it has a powerful muscles which gently push the food down the stomach. The esophagus contracts and relaxes in a rhythmic fashion to facilitate forward movement of food. This movement happens in other parts of the alimentary canal as well as in the peristalsis. No digestion takes place in the esophagus. Now the next one is stomach. So stomach is a muscular J-shaped thick wall bag. It is the widest part of the alimentary canal. One end of the stomach is connected to the esophagus to receive food, and the other end is connected to the small intestine where food is passed from the stomach. It churns the food to mix digestive juices. The food in the stomach is churned into the semi-solid. The churned semi-solid food is known as the chyme. The gastric juices are secreted from the walls of the stomach and mixed with the food. Gastric juice contains some enzymes and the hydrochloric acid. The food and the enzymes and the gastric juices break down the protein from the food. The hydrochloric acid kills the harmful bacteria present in the food and helps the gastric enzymes to work. Now the next one is the small intestine. Now from the stomach, partially digested food transfers from the small intestine. The small intestine is the longest part of the digestive system. It is about 20 feet or 7 meters long in an adult human. It is highly coiled tube, and it consists of the 3 parts. The first is the duodenum, the second is the jejunum, and third is the ileum. Now absorption in the small intestine. So in the duodenum, the liver and the pancreas pour their secretion. Liver secretes the bile juice and the pancreas secretes the pancreatic juice. The bile juice contains the bile which carries out the emulsification of fat. In the process, the fat is broken down into tiny droplets. The pancreatic juice contains several enzymes. These enzymes of the pancreatic juices break down the starch into simple sugars and proteins into amino acids. Minerals and vitamins do not get broken down as cells. From the duodenum, the food goes to the lower part of the intestine. There are numerous finger-like projections on the wall of the small intestine, and these projections are known as the villi. They have fine blood capillaries to absorb the food. After absorption, food mixes into the bloodstream and is carried to the cells of the body. The cell utilize the food to release the energy. Finally, the digestive food enters into the large intestine after it leaves the small intestine. The large intestine is wider and shorter than the small intestine. It is about 1.5 meter long. Now the large intestine. So in large intestine, excess of water from the material is absorbed. The semi-solid residue is stored in the last part of the large intestine called the rectum, and finally thrown out of the body through the anus from time to time. The throwing out of the waste of digested food from the rectum is known as the digestion, and it is also known as defecation. Now digestion in grass-eating animals. The plant-eating animals are also known as the grass-eating or they are also called the ruminants. They cannot digest cellulose, which is present in all plants. The digestion in these animals takes place as follows. Their stomach is divided into 4 chambers. The first is the rumen, second is the reticulum, third is the omasum, and fourth is the abomasum. First of all, half chewed food is swallowed and then it goes from the mouth to the rumen, the first chamber of the stomach. Here the bacteria breaks down the cellulose. This half digested food goes to the second muscular chamber, which is the reticulum. From the reticulum, the food is sent back to the mouth to be chewed again. This half digested food is called the curd. Now, chewing of the curd is known as rumination, and such animals are known as ruminating animals or the ruminants. For example, cow, goat, buffalo, sheep, a bison, etc. are good examples of some ruminating animals. The rechewed food is swallowed for the second time. After passing the first 2 chambers, it enters the third chamber, the omasum. Here the food is further broken down into small pieces and finally enters the fourth chamber, which is the abomasum. Here all the enzymes acts upon the food and the digestion is completed. The process of rechewing the curd to further break down the plant matter and stimulate digestion is known as the ruminating. The food then passes to the small intestine after it gets absorbed. After digestion and absorption, nutrients from the food are taken to the cells in the parts of the body. These cells oxidize the food to release energy. The undigested food passes to the large intestine, from where it is digested through the rectum and the anus. Now, feeding and digestion in amoeba. Amoeba feeds on a microscopic organism floating on water. The nutrition involves processes like ingestion, digestion, assimilation, and egestion. Amoeba forms pseudopodia to take food. When the tip of pseudopodia touches the other, the membrane at that point dissolves the food is encaptured along with the lysosomes into the food vacuole. This process of obtaining food is called the phagocytosis, and the digestive enzymes present in the lysosome digest the food. The digested food diffuses into the cytoplasm and it is utilized by the cell. This is known as assimilation. The undigested food left in the food vacuole is thrown out of the body, and this is known as the egestion. The false feet of amoeba are called pseudopodia. The word pseudopodia is the combination of pseudo, which means false, and podus means feet. Singular of pseudopodia is pseudopodium. So that's it. Your chapter is over.